Helen Bailey was a beloved British author known for her light-hearted books aimed at teenagers, especially her best-selling Electra Brown series. But in real life, Helen had experienced deep tragedy. In 2011, her husband of 22 years, John Sinfield, drowned while on holiday. Grief-stricken but resilient, Helen poured her emotions into her writing and began chronicling her experiences in a blog called Planet Grief, drawing in thousands of readers who admired her openness. By 2016, she seemed to be slowly rebuilding her life. She had moved in with a new partner, Ian Stewart, a widower she'd met through a support group. They lived together in her elegant home in Royston, Hertfordshire, along with her beloved dachshund, Boris. To everyone around her, Helen appeared to be moving forward. But on April 11, 2016, Helen was reported missing. Ian Stewart told police that she had left a note saying she needed time away and was heading to Broadstairs, a seaside town they had often visited together. She had taken Boris with her, he said. For days, the story puzzled friends and neighbors. Helen had recently signed a new publishing contract and had been in regular contact with her family and literary agent. It was completely unlike her to vanish without warning. Even stranger was that her phone, purse, and passport had all been left behind at the house. Something didn't feel right. Police began searching for clues, but there were few signs of what had really happened. Ian's account seemed vague, and his behavior struck investigators as odd. He hadn't contacted Helen's family right away and had waited several hours before reporting her missing. Meanwhile, detectives began reviewing security footage and financial records. They discovered that Helen hadn't made any travel arrangements or purchases after her alleged departure. There were no sightings of her. It was as if she had disappeared into thin air. Over the following weeks, suspicion around Ian Stewart began to grow. Investigators learned that in the months leading up to her disappearance, Helen had changed her will to make Ian the main beneficiary of her estate, worth over £3 million. She had also reportedly transferred significant sums of money to joint accounts. Police questioned Stewart again and again. His story remained the same. She left on her own. But there was no evidence to support that claim. What investigators couldn't yet prove was where Helen had gone. In July 2016, a major breakthrough occurred. During an extensive search of Helen's home, police examined a brick-built summer house in the garden. Beneath it, inside a hidden cesspit used for drainage, they found her body along with Boris, her dog. Helen had been drugged and smothered before being dumped in the tank. The discovery horrified the community and confirmed the worst fears. Helen hadn't run away, she'd have been murdered in her own home. Ian Stewart was arrested the same day. As police built their case, a horrifying narrative emerged. Stewart had been slowly drugging Helen with sleeping pills he had obtained using a prescription for his late wife. He had been slipping the medication into her food and drinks over the course of weeks, if not months. On the day of her death, he gave her a fatal dose and suffocated her. Then he hid her body and her dog in the cesspit, before concocting the story about her sudden trip. At his 2017 trial, prosecutors described Stewart as a manipulative and cold-blooded killer who had planned the murder, meticulously in order to gain access to Helen's fortune. His motive was greed, they argued, pure and simple. The jury heard that Stewart had told numerous lies, including claiming that two men named Nick and Joe had kidnapped Helen. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Helen's phone data, financial records, drug traces in her system, and the location of her body all pointed to a calculated and premeditated murder. The jury found Ian Stewart guilty of murder, fraud, preventing a lawful burial, and perverting the course of justice. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 34 years.